welcome back to Ashton Gate. It feels so good saying that with fans here.
Another opportunity, and he's onside, and it's two for Bristol City, and this time, and it's in! An early goal for Bristol City, and Andy Vyman is back!
And it goes
They're ahead of Bristol City, and they are level! And it's a first goal for Andy King for his boyhood club.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Robins TV. With Nigel Pearson back at the helm, it's a trip over the Prince of Wales Bridge this afternoon for Bristol City to take on Swansea at the Swansea.com stadium. So a very good afternoon to you if you're watching on Robins TV on Facebook and YouTube. You guys can watch until kickoff, and of course to everybody watching in the sports bar here at Ashton Gate for our beam back. We can almost hear you up in the studio, so make sure you're in fine voice this afternoon, please. Now, of course, if you are watching at home and you think, do you know what, I'd actually like to come down and soak up the atmosphere, then there are still some tickets available for the beam back. If you'd like to come along, you can just pay on the door. There are some tickets available there now, so come along and join the merry throng in the sports bar. We'll head down there actually a little bit later on. Toby is there and he'll bring us the team news very shortly indeed, but do come along if you'd like to for just £10. So then, all the action from the Swansea.com stadium this afternoon. Kickoff is of course not far away, but joining us in the studio for this one in the guest chair once again is former City defender Chris Honor. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
First of all, some real moments of delight then on Wednesday night against Reading.
Yeah, the 3 points were very important. Almost the result was more important than the actual performance in a sense. I thought we did pretty well first half. It was a very equal game. Two teams struggling with a little bit of lack of confidence. But once City took their chance late in the first half and then early in the second half, they seemed to grow in confidence. But then it was that conceding that penalty, and then for the last 20 minutes it was biting nails and heart pumping and nervy last 15 for sure. And Bristol City have just got to lose that habit of getting worried about, over anxious and getting stressed about conceding goals in the last 10-15 minutes. That obviously we've been doing for quite a long period of time. We need to kick that habit.
A little chat about the refereeing. I know, it's difficult, isn't it, because we're not out there in the middle of the park, but it does seem that we've had a sort of unlucky flow with the ref recently.
He was a difficult referee, I think. I saw some stats that he'd given away 70 yellow cards in the 21 previous games to that game last Wednesday. And he was... Players don't mind what kind of referee they get, whether he's strict, whether he's lenient, but what they want is consistency. And he set his stall out quite early. You knew he wasn't going to let certain things happen, and the players then have to adapt around the referee. The referee's not going to change his mind, but sometimes you just want that level of consistency from an official, and at times it was a little bit missing, especially the middle part of the game.
Let's talk a little bit about Antoine, because of course he took his goal tally to 5, his first home goal of the season as well on Wednesday night. That boy just sort of keeps growing and growing, doesn't he?
Oh, the guy's a superstar at the moment, isn't he? I mean, he just gives us such a positive outlet up front. He's obviously been given some honour by the EFL for his achievements this month,
yep.
And that's thoroughly deserved after some smashing goals at Fulham, which made him a really household name throughout the whole country with those highlights and the way he took those, and obviously that fantastic strike again against Preston that me and you witnessed in this studio.
Indeed.
Great strike again. It was past the goalkeeper before he knew it, and a lovely little tap in. And that's the ones that I think he has to work really hard on, is the easy ones, the ones that he has to think about and being in the right position. We all know he's got enough ability to create chances for himself. It's the little tap ins in the 6-yard box that he has to learn to find, to poach out, and to pick these little easy goals in the 6-yard box. They're very important.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see exactly how he gets on a little bit later on. However, it is now time to head down to the sports bar. You can reserve a table for £10. However, you can just walk in and have a drink for free at the bar. Not a free drink, obviously. You can walk in for free and have a drink whilst watching the game. I tell you what, if you want to go down and join the atmosphere, please do come along. As I say, that table reservation is £10, but you can just walk in through the door today for a pint in the sports bar, which is where we are heading to now, soaking up the atmosphere for the beanbag and with our team news. It's none other than league commentator Toby Osborne.
Thank you, Downsy. Well, the atmosphere is building nicely down here in the sports bar ahead of the Beanback. The pints are flowing. And of course, Bristol City today will be backed by over 2,000 travelling away fans, but plenty of you watching around the world today and here in the sports bar too. Bristol City will be looking to improve their away form. Russell Martin suggested during the week that his Swansea side are struggling to keep up with the physical rigours that the Championship has imposed on them in recent weeks. So let's have a look at the sides that he has put out for today's game. Well, Russell Martin has made 3 changes. The first one is a forced one after Bennett was sent off at the Bet365 Stadium. 18-year-old 6'5" Man City loanee Finley Burns comes in to replace him as part of a back 3 with Downs and Cabango. In midfield, former Bristol City man Corey Smith drops down to the bench. He's replaced by Ryan Manning. He'll form a 5 across the middle of the park with Borussia Mönchengladbach loanee Wolf wide left. The final change sees another familiar face, Jamie Patterson, reinstated behind striker Oba Femi. A turbulent month for the ex-Bristol City man who at one point thought his Swansea City career was over. And then lots of attacking flair on the bench for the home side with Nitcham and Yang Danda among the substitutes for today's game. As for Bristol City, they remain unchanged. No need for Nigel Pearson to alter a winning side. The biggest switch sees the manager, of course, back to full health and in the dugout today. It means Viner keeps his place as part of a back 3 with Closer and Callas. Jada Silva and Cam Pring are preferred as wing-backs today. Alex Scott was sensational against Reading. We really are starting to see the birth of a star for Bristol City. He's supported by Masengo, who, despite coming off injured at Ashton Gate, has passed a late fitness test. And then WSM go again. Vyman, Semenyo, Martin maintained their spots. Another goal and an assist to add to that goal contribution tally for the season so far for that trio. And then on the bench, a name you might not be so familiar with. Duncan Idahen comes in, a 19-year-old defender who's played with the under-23s this season. He was spotted at Grimsby last season by Brian Tinian when he was watching Aurora Edwards. He was playing League 2 football, just the age of 18. And he is joined on the bench today by Robbie Cundy, the youth as well of Benarouz and Conway, and then, of course, Joe Williams as well. So, unchanged for Bristol City Downsy today. And the big news comes from the bench. Duncan Idahen makes his first matchday squad appearance for the Robins.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. Toby down in the sports bar. He's going to make his way back up to the studio. An unchanged side is a sign of confidence, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously very pleasing to see Masengo back in the starting lineup after he went off early in the game. And I think Joe Williams probably needed a bit of a break. You know, he's played a lot of football. In the last 2 games, he came on and played the half against Luton. And then he almost played the full game when obviously Masengo went off on Wednesday night and perhaps needs a rest. So it's good that we're able to protect him. But Masengo's been one of the highlights of the team as well. We want him doing everything he did at Preston and a little bit more. Obviously Swansea are a possession-based team, and without his snapping tackles and winning the ball back in midfield, it could be a long afternoon for Bristol City. So it's really nice to see him back in the team, and hopefully he's full of energy, having a little break from Wednesday night.
OK, Chris, more of Chris's expert opinion on the way very shortly indeed. However, time to head along almost to the end of the M4. It's a long old drive to Swansea. Let's catch up with Dave Barton, who's with Nigel Pearson, the latest on the team news.
Nige, great to see everyone has recovered from the Reading game, including Hanno and Masengo, and you named an unchanged team.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably a fair thing to do. Be a tough game here this afternoon, but I think the players are quite determined today to get our away form back on the right track. Heard a few comments amongst the group about that, so that's always encouraging that they're motivating themselves. Yeah, so a chance for them to go and replicate the midweek game.
Consistency, performance and results is something we've been striving for. What's the key to going to get back-to-back wins today?
Well, as I've said quite a few times, it's about us being able to defend well as a team, but not lose our effectiveness going forward. I mean, that's the most important thing for us. We know that we will create opportunities, and we've got quite a potent strike force who are all scoring goals at the moment. We need more goals from elsewhere within the team, whether that be from midfield or in set plays from defenders. Yeah, we need to need to chip in across the board, but also we need to be defensively very solid.
You put a young lad on the bench, 19-year-old Duncan Idahan. Is that a case of just needing to boost those resources if needed?
Yeah, I mean, it's not anything other than something which gives us more balance. And Dunk's been training with us this week, and yeah, I mean, he's had some loan experience at Grimsby. So we need a bit more depth in defensive areas on the bench. So yeah, it's nothing other than that, and I think he's quite excited about it.
Almost 2,000 City fans here today. Great to have that support on the road.
Yeah, but it's also important that we perform in a way which gives them something to reflect positively on, and yeah, the right result would be a good way of doing that. But I think they want to see us performing with a level of commitment and but also quality too.
All the best.
Cheers. Thanks.
Nigel Pearson chatting to Dave Barton there down in Swansea. Let's talk a little bit about Duncan Idahan then. So 19, played for Grimsby. Apparently he was playing League 2 at 18. That's quite some achievement, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, obviously he's a player for the future, I would imagine, at that age. Great that he's been playing so early and gaining experience. Don't ask me any more questions about him because I don't know anything.
That's fair enough.
But it's a bit of a surprise one. I spoke to Gary Hours earlier on today, or heard Gary speaking, and he was saying that, he watches his son play in the under-23s and doesn't even know a lot about him. So, he's one for the future. And it gives us a little bit of balance on the bench, as Nigel Pearson just mentioned. And hopefully, with what we're trying to build at Bristol City at the moment, with all the young lads coming through, he's just another name on that sheet and one to look out for.
You definitely feel that the sort of future is growing in front of our eyes here, and you do wonder whether in Nigel Pearson we trust almost, because that future is a little bit far ahead. Maybe we have to go through a few little bumpy patches first, but the future looks so bright.
I think you have to expect quite a few inconsistencies with young players. I think you're not going to get them to performing on a level consistently week in, week out. But with the young lads at the moment, if they can all grow together, all push each other, there's always going to be a certain amount of camaraderie, but also competition within the group. If one player gets in front of the other one, then that drags all the other ones through as well, because they want to be as good as that player. And it's really healthy competition. If you can get a good group of young lads in a dressing room, and they're all doing that, then there's a great future for Bristol City, I'm sure. And I'm getting excited about it. I mean, we sat here against Preston, and it was probably one of the best performances of the season so far. So I'm hoping we can go and do that at Swansea today. With the likes of Masengo, the likes of Semenyo on the counter-attack, and all the experienced players, Close, who played absolutely fantastic on Wednesday night, doing the same at the back and marshalling the defence.
Great stuff. All right, thank you very much, Chris. Still to come then, we head up to the Robins HBC. We're on the road once again as Dan White, our Robins TV reporter, catches up for part 2 with an interview with assistant manager Curtis Fleming. And of course, we've got all the action from the Swansea.com stadium. We'll see you in just a couple of ticks. welcome back to Robins TV for our coverage of Bristol City's trip along the M4 to take on Swansea in the Championship. Time for a bit of behind the scenes now. We're heading up to the High Performance Centre and in July last year, Curtis Fleming arrived at Ashton Gate. Our reporter Dan White's been up to the HPC to have a chat to Curtis, affectionately known as R. Flem, and a little walk down memory lane.
Can you explain the next picture for us? Because how did you end up meeting the England rugby head coach, Eddie Jones?
Well, that was really interesting. I love other sports. I'm really addicted. I love contact sports. I love my boxing. I love rugby. I like my bit of UFC. Not that I'll be any good at them, but I like them, and I really appreciate. I really appreciate what these guys do on a day-to-day basis. The rugby guys, it's like collisions now, like car crashes. Yeah. The UFC is in an octagon and you just can't go anywhere, you can't run away, you know. And I like boxing because I used to go and look at a lot of boxing, knew a few local boxers, used to go to the fights and see the amount of training they put in. And it wasn't world title fight at Las Vegas. You know, it was just a normal Northern area title fight, so it was good. So when I got the opportunity, I was assistant manager then at the time at Queen's Park Rangers, and I've always wanted to go, and I had a brilliant opportunity to go and meet them, and they were so open. Wow, brilliant. You know, literally on the side of the pitch, looking at the session, all the information, anything that went, you weren't kept away. And then luckily enough, we were asked to go down for lunch with them after there, and it was really, really open environment and very professional, and I thought it was a great opportunity to go and have a look.
Fantastic. I think so many of us can really respect is when people step out of their comfort zone, which you did with England Rugby, and also which you did not too long ago when you went and took a coaching role, a head coaching role, I should say, in India.
Yes.
So what was that experience like?
Yes, again, it's something that's Kashmir, that beautiful place.
Beautiful, yeah.
Beautiful place. The pitch wasn't as good as the scenery, but it was okay. And the infrastructure over there struggles at times at different places. But for me, I've been in the championship a lot of years. I've had a couple of opportunities to go different places, and I had an opportunity to go to Punjab FC, I went over initially to just kind of help set the club up. They'd never had a professional team before. They had an academy, so I went over as head coach and had a chance to pick the players and talk about the infrastructure and kind of just get involved in everything. And it's a long way from home, but it was something different. And I just thought, you know, why not? You know, just go. You're going to learn something about yourself. You learn something about football. You learn something about people. You know, the players were unbelievable. You know, you talk about the wage structure in England, and the wage structure in India is minute. But the lads were like literally, they'd train for 5 hours if you wanted. Amazing. You know, absolutely dedicated staff, were desperate to learn anything you could give them.
My final question, really, in our final slide, which is your smiling face there, and it's
been
a tough...
I look pain. I don't know where that came from, but yeah.
It's been a tough season so far, but how far do you think we are from turning a corner and we can see more of that Curtis Fleming smile that we've got?
Well, I think that's a weird one, lad. I don't know what's happened there, but I'll take it. I think that the season for us, I think there's been a plan here. I think there's been a consolidation. There has to be a platform. There has to be, you know, where do we want to go? I think there was a lot of changes last season. When I first came, I didn't know how many changes there'd been, you know, on and off the pitch, staff-wise and player-wise. And I think that I just had to kind of regroup and you know, get some players in, and everything's mentioned with budgets and everything like that. So I think that we've been competitive. I think we should be higher than we are. And I don't think we've hit the performance level that we would like on a consistent basis enough. There's loads of improvements to come, and they will come. They have to come if we want to progress. So I think that's what we have to believe every time we come in. I may be an eternal optimist, but that's how I feel when why I do the job and why I come in, and I'm happy to be here because good people, good setup, and you know, hopefully those pictures, they're the ones that make you believe why you love football, because hopefully there's a picture of us with a promotion banner in front of us, and you can't buy that. Money can't buy you that. That's just something that no one can take away from you. So hopefully we see one more of them.
I really hope so. Thank you,
Okay,
Curtis.
thanks very much. Cheers.
Curtis Fleming chatting to Robins TV reporter Dan White there. I tell you what, he's a lovely bloke. Any interaction I've ever had with Curtis has always been lovely. He comes across as such a nice guy. And of course, being reunited with Nige after their playing days at Middlesbrough. And he's coached some massive clubs, Crystal Palace, Queen's Park Rangers. What a guy.
Absolutely. I mean, he comes across, as you said, really nice, pleasant guy, great smile. My God, let's hopefully we will see a lot more of that. But yeah, he's got some great experience. I mean, going out to India and things like that. I've had a few friends go out there and do the same. They're still there now. They say that's great for your CV, but can last a long time. And you certainly appreciate when you come back to England and get back into the English leagues. But these guys who go around the country coaching, you just grow again. You start your whole career all over again. You've been a footballer all your life, but coaching and playing are two completely different things. And sometimes trying to explain to younger lads what they're expected to do on the pitch is one of the hardest things in the game.
Okay, well, nice to see him and Nigel reunited on the touchline today. Speaking of the touchline at Swansea, let's take ourselves back to 2021 right now, and the last time we played at Swansea, which was another great victory for Bristol City.
We'll see the replays now. It will be a penalty. He's inside the box, Casey Palmer. Furious with the referee. Nigel Pearson has his hands on his head. Stopping the Bristol City goal. Andre Ayew steps up. Dan Bentley inches away from parrying that beyond the post, but Ayew opens the scoring at the Liberty Stadium, and Bristol City will have to come from behind. Dive the right way, Dan Bentley. Whisker away, but Andre Ayew, he's a clinical striker. Yeah. How about that from Zach Viner? Almost gets away from Gahey. He does here. Zach Viner's in. Can he find the finish? Yes, he can. It's Naki Wells. And Bristol City on the 65th minute are level at the Liberty. And that is Zach Viner creating something from nothing then. What about that for a finish? Clinical from Naki Wells.
He's in good form. It's a great finish, but another build-up of play that is what we're all about.
11 minutes remaining here on Robins TV. A crowd of red shirts looking to put Woodman under pressure. In comes the corner, and it's in! And Bristol City have the lead at the Liberty Stadium, and it's Casey Palmer.
Had to be that man, didn't it? He's been instrumental all this second half. He is really driven from midfield, put us in some great areas to score goals, and that is a great example of a set piece. That's worked well for us. Not been two great set pieces over the last few games, but that's brilliant for us.
1 minute for Bristol City to see out here. And it's ricocheted off Semenyo, and it's in! And Bristol City have the third at the Liberty Stadium, and they seal all 3 points. Antoine Semenyo with his first championship goal of the season. A stunning victory in South Wales. And Bristol City, from the depths of despair, have 2 wins in 2 on the road.
I love it. Hopefully some more of the same a little bit later on. Right, time to say goodbye to our viewers on Facebook and YouTube now. Unfortunately, EFL restrictions means we can't show you the game, but of course you can follow on Bristol City's social channels. And of course, if you want a Robins TV audio pass, bcfc.co.uk. We'll see you all again on Robins TV next Saturday for the visit of Middlesbrough in BS3.